St. Thomas University Journalism and the New Brunswick Beacon present The Basement Files.
Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of The Basement Files. I'm Sean McCullum.
I'm Elizabeth MacArthur.
I'm Kenya Marislin.
And I'm Emily McPhee. Here are this week's headlines. Damage from a tropical storm this past summer has some experts worried about potential power outages.
With winter fast approaching, homeless shelters in Fredericton are struggling to secure the funding they need to operate.
From rain to freezing rain to snow, November weather in the Maritimes has finally begun. Fredericton got its first dose of winter this weekend with nearly 30 centimeters of snow. The plows are out and so are the winter tires. Wet and icy conditions have turned some roads into slalom courses. Drivers should take extra precaution when it comes to their daily commute. Danielle Charon isn't taking any chances.
We're not prepared. I drove to work today and my dad wouldn't let me drive home, so I'm waiting for him right now.
Although it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, the snow isn't here to stay, with warmer days coming up in the following week. Tuesday to Thursday features partly cloudy conditions with rain expected for Friday and Sunday, a perfect time for Frederictonians to bust out their rubber boots.
Hurricane Arthur has slammed the province with high winds and heavy rains, leaving thousands powerless. The hurricane has since moved on, but New Brunswickers are not yet out of the storm. Jordan Gill has more.
Hurricane Arthur left behind downed trees, snapped power lines, and millions of dollars in damage to infrastructure after visiting the province. Now many New Brunswickers are concerned that the trees left behind, already weakened by summer storms, may cause many more powerless days during the winter. MB Power spokesperson Megan Garish says the utility has been aggressively pruning trees over the summer to reduce the risk of power outages this winter, though she admits this won't be enough.
Having experienced so much severe weather, we do expect that trees have been weakened by those storms, and we would expect to see more branches and trees come down this year when the winds get significant.
Humans are not entirely powerless against the damage Mother Nature may cause. Andrew Hayes is the owner of Treecologic, a company whose main goal is to save problem trees when possible. He says if homeowners act proactively, they can save their trees and keep their power.
A lot of the damage that we've seen are from previous conditions on the tree. So any of the properties that we've pruned in the past to avoid this type of thing, those trees were fine. Our usual customers, their trees were in pretty good condition. Tree maintenance is not something that a lot of people think about, but it's definitely important if you want to keep the trees and you value the trees around your home.
After Arthur, power crews from outside the province as well as private crews from within joined the cleanup effort. Garish says these options are still available.
We are able to draw on crews from other utilities and as well as from the private sector in the event that severe weather comes through and there's massive power outages.
Business has been good for Treecologic. Business is up and calls are steady. But the crews have been working hard, and Hayes is ready for a rest.
I'm looking forward to a little break. Probably take a little bit of time off during Christmas. We've put in a lot of hours, and ever since post-tropical storm Arthur, we've been putting in a lot of time, and we're ready for a little break at some point, but it's good to be busy.
Environment Canada says that above normal temperatures are expected well into December. But with some areas of the province already getting a taste of winter weather, maybe homeowners should take care of any tree problems sooner rather than later. For St. Thomas Journalism, I'm Jordan Gill.
St. Thomas University's food bank is a place where financially strapped students can pick up food items for free. Campus ministry fills the shelves every week to feed hungry students and wants to spread the word about their mission. Sarah Perez has more with this story.
This is Tacha Hodges. She's currently the food bank coordinator at STU. Several times a week, she makes sure to restock and distribute the food on these shelves. We have a food bank here.
I think it's really important. I didn't realize until I started doing this how many people actually use it. I thought that a couple people would come through, but you realize once you're in charge of it that there's more people coming through and there's more people who need it than you thought.
The STU Food Bank first started working 20 years ago when a group of students traveled to Mexico and saw poverty. They wanted to help students in need here in Canada. It's located in the back of the STU Chapel, where what Tasha calls the hidden supply. STU campus minister Janice Ryan has also coordinated the food bank for years. She said it's a privilege to have a food bank on campus accessible for all students.
I think it's important that we have a food bank because students are hungry. From the very beginning when I came to St. Thomas, I could see that there were students that would just enjoy the food from their friends and they didn't have food themselves, or maybe they didn't have money at a particular time and they might go without food. Then this way we have food available.
They offer tomato soups, canned meat, cleaning and beauty supplies, rice, pasta, and gluten-free products. The rules to grab food are based on trust. The food bank is also open to receive donations from students and teachers. The donation boxes are located in every building on campus.
They can go and borrow from the food bank or use the food at the food bank, and at other times they might be contributing to the food at the food bank by food drives or community events or other events that are organized to bring in money for the food bank. So I think it's both good that they see that they have a need, but they can also contribute.
At the beginning of every month, these shelves are covered with food and cleaning supplies. By the second week of every month, these shelves are empty. This is a clear sign that students are hungry and need to purchase food by donations of other people's money besides their own. Campus ministry will help them throughout the year. For STU Journalism, I'm Sarah Perez.
Fredericton homeless shelters are doing what they can to provide a safe and warm place to stay, but not everyone is welcome through their doors. Staff and shelter residents weigh in on the issue. Alex Corbett reports.
Parks, banks, and bridges. These are the places where Fredericton's homeless states survive.
I'm here in Odell Park, where last year a man was found frozen and dead. Many believed he had fallen through the cracks of the city's homeless services.
The alternative to staying outdoors is the Fredericton Emergency Shelter, which, along with a women's shelter, provides people a warm place to live. But even with the shelters, many stay outside. They say the cost of living at the shelter, at $200 a month, along with the shelter's rules, keeps them on the streets. Ren, who lives in the streets, says the shelters aren't a desirable option for some people.
And some people go get in trouble just so they can go to jail for the winter and stay off the streets. They'd rather go to the jail than stay in here. I would rather stay on the streets than stay in the shack.
Staff believe they do everything they can. Warren Maddox, executive director of the shelter, says that maintaining a safe environment is his primary concern.
The only requirement that we have is when you show up at the door and ring the doorbell, you're sober. And that's pretty hardcore, that you have to be. We've got a lot of guys in here that are, they're right on the edge and they're sober and they're clean and they don't want someone around them that's not. It's too hard, way too hard.
Nick Eade has spent nearly 3 weeks at the shelter, and he says he's impressed with the program.
It's a good place, just because it gives people time to sort things out for themselves, get the checks they need for welfare, or look for work or anything like that. It's really helpful. And hospitality's nice. The people working, the staff, they're cool. They joke around with everyone. Pretty nice.
Maddox hopes that November's fundraising campaign, the Buy a Night program, will help cover the $400,000 annual cost of maintaining the shelter.
This isn't Fredericton's hopeless shelter. It's a homeless shelter, and there's a lot of hope and a lot of optimism.
Conditions are only getting worse as the season goes on, but with the shelter's Buy a Night program, sponsors can ensure everyone gets a warm place to stay. For STU Journalism, I'm Alex Corbett.
A small German restaurant in Fredericton will be opening after a month-long hiatus. The new venue caters more to customers' feedback. Taylor Hoyt has the story.
It looks like an ordinary house on the outside, but on the inside, it's a small, private German dining experience. Uwe Kuster is the owner and manager of the Schnitzel Parlour. He's excited to be reopening his restaurant at a new location.
It's a new adventure for us as well. We will reopen our business here at the new location on 304 Union Street on the north side. It will be operated as a private dining. The seating capacity here is much smaller than it was before. We had in the Silverwood 55 seats, here we have 25.
The restaurant might be small, but the fan base is large. After the lease was terminated, Kuster chose to move to a smaller location based on customer input.
We were looking forward to go back where we started with the private dining because it is more customer orientated, it is more intimate, it is more personal, and customer care is quite an important thing to us. And we have a lot of regular customers who, over the last 7 years, they always told us the atmosphere, the dining experience was different when we were smaller.
Kuster says his restaurant differs from others because of its unique German cuisine and chocolates. Nothing is deep fried, but what really sets them apart is the ambiance. Everything is set to go for the Schnitzel Parlour, aside from their liquor license. The restaurant is to reopen on Friday, November 7th. The restaurant is reservation only. For Stu Journalism, I'm Taylor Hoyt.
Justin Burke has been sentenced to 5 life terms with no chance of parole for 75 years. The Moncton gunman stood trial on October 31st, and reports say that he showed little emotion during the proceeding. Crown Prosecutor Cameron Gunn said that he's committed one of the most heinous crimes in Canadian history. On June 4th, Burke killed 3 RCMP officers and wounded 2 others in a series of ambush-style shootings. Burke is facing the longest sentence in Canadian history, and the 24-year-old will be 99 by the time that he can apply for parole.
A Fredericton band held their 6th annual Halloween ball at the Boys Farmers Market this Saturday. Costume partygoers dressed up in both homemade and store-bought costumes to express their love for Halloween. Jessica Christmas has more with this story.
Fredericton's local band Pretty in Pink hosted their 6th Halloween ball on Saturday evening. The Halloween ball was located at the local farmers market for those who are 19 and over.
No, actually we've been at the Boys Farmers Market. This is actually our 6th Halloween ball. We started in, I think it was 2009, and we just had the idea, you know, there's no real big Halloween shows, and some friends and I had got together and started what we thought was the essential nostalgic band, the 80s band. And yeah, so we tried it. It used to be that there was live shows at the Boys Farmers Market years ago. It had stopped for a period of time, and we actually, I think we're the first ones sort of back in 2009. And since then, the market has hosted 6 of our shows and numerous other shows throughout the years.
Every year, Pretty in Pink hosts a different theme. This year's theme was Nightmare on George Street. The cover charge is $20, and tickets were quickly sold out. They were expecting at least 500 people throughout the whole evening. The event also had a barbecue and served drinks.
Yeah, we totally do this for fun. We found that the community really enjoys it. A lot of people like the opportunity to come to the market and dress up and have a good time. And you know, we live in a government town, so there's only so many nights of the year you can go out and really let loose, and one of those nights is when you have a costume on.
O'Donnell had received positive feedback from those who attended the previous Halloween balls. Residents look forward to them every year. The people of Fredericton look forward to events each year, especially the Farmers Market's annual Halloween ball. It's always a huge success, and everybody has something positive to say about it. I hope everybody has a safe and happy Halloween. For Stu Journalism, I'm Jessica Christmas.
Students at St. Thomas University are suffering from recent changes to their health plan. The new plan has caused significant problems for students and confusion among drugstores. Kate Owen has more on this story.
Natalie Sturgeon is a diabetic and is currently in her 3rd year at St. Thomas. Her university told her that nothing would change. She would still be able to receive her medications without issues once the health plan switched over, but they were wrong.
That nothing would be changed, that I could get my medication that I needed. And I went into the pharmacy, and the pharmacist looks at me and goes, "This is not covered." And I said, "What?" And she was like, "Your insulin isn't covered, and it's $271 a package." Which means that I get 5 vials, but I didn't have $271.
Natalie is a type 1 diabetic and is insulin dependent. Without the proper medication, Natalie can only go 24 hours before falling seriously ill. Type 1 diabetics suffer from an autoimmune disease, which stops a person's pancreas from producing insulin. This occurs when the body's immune system attacks and destroys insulin-producing cells. This Shoppers Drug Mart is where Natalie was denied the right to her life-sustaining medication.
Call the company, my mom had to call the company, the student union president had to call the company, and they were explaining that there was this whole miscommunication between the pharmacy and the company.
Natalie has since had to change pharmacies to receive medication and is still waiting to be refunded by the insurance company the new health plan uses. Many students are having the same problem. Students have been directed to a website for more information regarding the Student Union Health Plan, which constantly crashes and often doesn't load. Taylor Hoyt says it became too much of a hassle when she tried to get her prescription.
So I went to go get my prescription filled out, and it said that my insurance wasn't valid anymore. So when I went back to get that fixed, I had to fill out a form online, and the form said that my birthday wasn't valid. So when my mom called the company to get everything figured out, it's because everyone's birthday is set to November 5th, 1950, and it would take a few days to get it straightened out, which was super inconvenient because I needed the prescription that day. So the drugstore had to call the company and get everything sorted out, and it was a lot more hassle than it really needed to be.
Student Benefits now takes the place of Blue Cross. With lack of information, pharmacies being confused, and refunds yet to be made, many students are left worrying about no money and their health. For Stu Journalism, I'm Kate Olton.
The province of New Brunswick, in coordination with the Public Health Agency of Canada, will donate supplies towards helping treat Ebola in West Africa. New Brunswick has announced that $425,000 worth of supplies will be donated to the World Health Organization. Personal protective equipment, including fluoride-resistant gowns, surgical masks, face shields, and stethoscopes, will be among some of the supplies coming from a provincial stockpile maintained by the Department of Health. The province reassures that the donation will not impact the province's supply. Hospitals in New Brunswick will have enough equipment in case any local cases arise. The best way to help protect the New Brunswickers is to stay safe and to fight the virus.
If you think Halloween is only for young people, think again. The Canadian Cancer Society recently held a Halloween-themed fundraiser for adults. Katrina Wren has more on this crazy event.
On the day before Halloween, the Canadian Cancer Society organized a celebration in Knowledge Park to thank all companies that help raising money for cancer research. The society is targeting to have $10,000 to donate by the end of the year, so they invited 5 local technology startup companies to join the program. Jessica Studd is one of the organizers.
It was Knowledge Park was approached to be a member of the Canadian Cancer Society Dream Team, and that's a pledge to raise $10,000. And so our idea was to spread that out across the tech companies and startups throughout Fredericton. So rather than have one individual fundraise $10,000, we're trying to get multiple members on board to each raise a smaller amount.
Each business designed fundraising events in their cultural style, like Star Wars Night, barbecue sale, and pie in face. Some companies contribute the amount far beyond targets. So for the celebrating activities, organizers designed a competition between 5 companies. All participating members were required to dress in Halloween costumes. There were 7 stations of the game. Startups were able to go through them in any order. They have to clear missions of each station and take a picture as proof. The team take the least time to collect 7 pictures will be the winner. At last, groups need to find out one co-organizer that dressed as Waldo. Finally, the team from Caris won the competition. They donated a check with $1,600. The developing manager of Caris, Tim Astle, was excited to win.
Well, we did a few events. We started off with a breakfast on behalf of the company, so people would come in and pay money and get something to eat in the morning. Then we did a bake sale, and we also did a pie in the face contest as well, and that raised some money as well. So there's about 3 or 4 events. I might have missed one, but we did a few events to try to raise some money.
The Cancer Society has already received $5,500 ready to go. The existing members expressed they are willing to keep helping. On the top of that, there will be more startups get involved to finish the rest half amount. For Stu Journalism, I'm Katrina Wren.
Time warp dancing, transvestites, and music were the highlight of this midnight Halloween event. The tradition made a return to Fredericton last year and continues today. Brittany Lively has the details.
Backed by popular demand, the Fredericton Playhouse presents the Rocky Horror Picture Show. This event not only allowed you to see the movie, but experience it as well with some time warp dance lessons. Tim Yerxa is the director of the event and says he is a fan of the movie.
But it was just such a great tradition, and it's such a great film. And so
we thought we'd see if there was interest in doing it again. So last year was a bit of an experiment. We tried it. We had about 210 people show up, and tonight we have about 260 or 280, and they're still coming in.
The original Rocky Horror Picture Show premiered in 1975, starring Tim Curry.
From transsexual Transylvania.
Philip Thurland is new to Time Warp, but didn't mind getting a lesson.
My friend said that it would be a fun time, and they told me that all the guys would be dressed like this, so I kind of believed it. And I came like this, so yeah, that's why I came. It seems really fun.
Just a jump to the left.
Audience members were asked to join the stage to participate and learn the dance. And after 39 years, people are still trying to do the Time Warp. For Stu Journalism, I'm Brittany Lively.
Anglophone West School District is looking into closing or consolidating 3 schools in the area. Bath Middle School and Coles Island School are on the chopping block for closure, while Stanley Elementary and Stanley High School is being looked at for consolidation. The Stanley School is a unique situation. The school houses 300 students from K to 12, with the elementary school and high school as 2 separate schools, each with their own teaching staff and budgets. Consolidation of the 2 schools will reduce operating costs. The final decision on the future of the 3 schools will be made in 6 months. Until then, parents and members of the communities will be given at least 3 opportunities to voice their concerns.
Local businesses aren't guaranteed success in Fredericton. Some people already have their favorite places to go and aren't willing to try anything new. Lori Mazerl takes a look at how some businesses not only thrive, but are helping build Fredericton's economy.
It may not look like it now, but this cafe used to be an abandoned building that business owners avoided. It was too much work to renovate. The Chess Piece Cafe has been open since July and has already improved the look of downtown Fredericton. The contractor, Nate Carnahan, couldn't have made the building what it is today without a lot of assistance from city workers.
Everything pretty much had to be redone, and even this place is so old and it's been so many different things that it's been chopped up a few times. And so the biggest challenge was restructuring it back to not its original form, but into a form that is going to work for whatever might want to come in here.
Visuals are everything for visitors coming to Fredericton, especially on Queen Street. Aging buildings in downtown Fredericton spell bad news for the city's economy. This can directly affect businesses. Patty Hollenberg decided the old Harley Mallory building was perfect for her new cafe. She has cut out a lot of expenses by buying most ingredients locally.
As raw as it was going to be.
As far as promoting local businesses, it's always in your best interest, right? You want to keep the money within the economy. So to be able to help local suppliers, local farms
like Coburn's and Gooding's Poultry Farm, it's nice to be able to have those contacts.
Local businesses are encouraged by their community because they directly support the city's economy. Renovating older buildings like this one make Queen Street more appealing and bring in more sales.
Fredericton residents want to support the local economy, and they want a good meal with quality ingredients. Now they can have their cake and eat it too. For Stu Journalism, I'm Lori Mazerl.
League of Legends is an online game gaining popularity for its quests and plot lines. It's also becoming infamous for its addictive nature. Some students find the game so addicting that they find skipping classes easy and maintaining a social life more difficult. Chris Brooks has the story.
You're a champion, a king, a warrior, a student who's 10 minutes late for your class. If you haven't heard of it before, then you will soon. League of Legends is dominating the gaming world. League of Legends is a multiplayer online computer game where you play as a champion warrior with your friends as you try to dominate your enemy's base. 67 million people play League of Legends, with 27 million playing every day. The New York Times created a video of 10,000 gamers playing at the same time to show patterns in gamers' strategies. Players fight to improve their rank on the online leaderboards and are penalized if they break certain rules like quitting early. This has led to a drop in social life for many players, as a typical match can last between 20 to 40 minutes. Matthew Chason is one university student who has had to curve his gaming schedule as a result.
It's super weird. I can remember back in like first and second year, classes were skipped because I needed to finish this match, and we were so close to winning, And I was like, oh, I can beat this. I can finish this in like 5 minutes. And I'm there for another like half an hour, and I'm still not done.
League of Legends is the most played PC game in America and Europe. Part of the reason for its huge popularity is that it's free and the adrenaline of the battle.
I honestly, I think you get a huge rush. It's a team sport, essentially. So that feeling of winning is really satisfactory, and you can a lot of times, it feels good to win.
Mitch Chalk is another student who has dealt with an obsession with the game.
Their professional league is called the LCS, and I spend a lot of time watching that too. I have a favorite team and everything. It's bad.
The game is addictive, and these gamers aren't going to be quitting anytime soon. Riot Games, the developers of League of Legends, have hosted world tournaments, drawing in 32 million views and boasting a prize of over $1 million. Despite what these students' professors might say, it might pay to be in the game. For Stu Journalism, I'm Chris Brooks.
In university basketball this weekend, the St. Thomas Tommies took on St. Vincent in early season action. Johnny Cullen has more on the score.
It was cold and snowy outside on Sunday afternoon, but things heated up as the Tommies and Mystics hit the hardwood. The home team was sloppy in the first 20 minutes, and the Mystics capitalized, running up a 14-point lead on the Tommies. Stu was flat-footed, and the visitors thought they had the game sealed up, but as the first half came to an end, so did the Mystics' lead. The Tommies were just getting started. The score was back and forth until Stu pulled away in the last minute. Mystics coach Ian McRae thought both teams left it all on the floor.
I thought kind of tale of two halves. Came out, played well in the first half. Got up 14, missed two pretty easy shots, and I think the momentum shifted there. And Stu did a real good job of capitalizing on it. So Dwight does a real good job with him, so we know it would be tough. So got to play 40 minutes to beat a team like that.
It's only early in the season, but the Tommies are off to a good start with a 2-game winning streak. Stu head coach Dwight Dickinson said veteran player Calvin LeBlanc turned the game around.
What do you think? I tell you, I keep telling people it's fun to come and watch us play because you don't know what's going to happen at any one moment. Right? I thought that Calvin coming on, he's had a bad heel. He came on and hit the 3, hit another 2, did a defensive stop down here. I thought that was a great change up for us. We needed one person to lift us up, and he did it, Calvin.
The Tommies now have 2 weeks to prepare for their next game when they face first-place team Holland College. It was a nail-biter down here tonight, but the Stu Tommies found a way to come out on top. After a shaky first half, the team came up big on defense and drove the ball to the hoop for a comeback in the second. With this early season victory under the belt, the team is confident moving into their next game. For Stu Journalism, I'm Johnny Cullen.
Recently, the Fredericton Public Library underwent major renovations, and the staff has been waiting months to celebrate these changes. Patrick Lau spoke with the staff about the new direction of the library.
Books, books, and even more books. It's quiet at the library today, even though there's plenty for the staff to be excited about. Nancy Egger is the Children's Services Librarian here at the Public Library. The children's section doubled in size during the renovations, so Egger is still getting used to it.
It did definitely present some challenges. We were operational throughout the renovations, so basically moving 30,000 children's books from one end of the library to the other while still serving the public. And so obviously you come up with some workarounds.
In addition to growing the children's section, the renovations focused on making the library more accessible. For Kathy McLagan, the chair of the Fredericton Public Library Board, wider rows and more spacing are keys to ensuring the library works for everyone.
One of the nicest things is we have a lot more space for people. It's really a public space now.
McLagan says one of the goals of the library is to be a place people want to go. Renovations help to brighten the space inside the building.
There's some beautiful areas along the river, which is out that direction, it gives you a view of the river that's probably the best in the city.
For Tyler Griffin, the young adult and adult services librarian, the library's new look is important to how he hopes to engage patrons.
It has a new feel to it so that folks that have taken some time away from the library or maybe visiting for the first time that have a little bit of an old-fashioned sense of what the public library offers, they might get a new perspective.
Books aren't the only thing the library has to offer. From shelves of DVDs to a children's play space, along with plenty of community activities, the Fredericton Public Library is still expanding.
You might be able to tell based on my outfit that we had a Halloween program today, so we had a story time this morning, and we had over 150 people actually in attendance. We had a costume parade and walked through the library and did some trick-or-treating and a story time and several stories and songs.
Today is the grand reopening of the library to celebrate the fact that renovations have been completed and activities will be going on throughout the week. For St. Thomas Journalism, I'm Patrick Lowe.
That concludes this week's edition of the Basement Files. Make sure to tune next time for more stories.
In the meantime, head over to nbbeacon.ca for more breaking news.
See you next time.